Scott just made the point.
Jefferson seems to be a lot more secure, not just.
When Barack Obama leaves the White House on January 20th, 2017, the biggest challenge for many Americans will be just moving on, one day at a time, without his divine omnipresence. Now, if you're one of those thinking, Lord, to whom shall we go? I have good news. Another has arisen to assume the mantle of political divinity. I'm Scott Ott, joined now by Stephen Green and Bill Whittle. Men, each morning the first thing I do is to read several chapters of the Bible. I find it helps me face the day when I start by listening to Jesus. Thanks to our buddy Todd Starnes over at Fox News, I discovered a group of women who, like me, begin their day beholding the glory of their Lord.
Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on Hillary. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on Hillary.
Well, old-time Christians will recognize the gospel song, Woke Up This Morning with My Mind Stayed on Jesus. But this feminist alternative choir in New Hampshire has altered the lyric, replacing Jesus with Hillary, as in Clinton. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on Hillary. Stephen Green, you've sometimes described yourself as agnostic, but a seeker. Have you finally found the one who is worthy of your worship?
Oh, whew. That's better. Oh, man, sorry. There was something there I just couldn't follow. You know, Barack Obama could get away with his stuff. He was Black Jesus. He projects that charisma. He himself said he was that blank slate that people could project onto, and by gosh, they sure did. You could see it in their eyes as they stand behind the rope and wait for his holy touch. And it's real. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying it's real. Barack Obama can actually engender that sort of rapturous enthusiasm out of his true believers. But Hillary Clinton, come on, Queen Cackle Pants, no. This is drummed up, it's fake, it's as inauthentic as she is. Everybody knows, you know, right? The Clinton camp leaked a story to the New York Times over the weekend, or on Monday, about how Hillary was going to reboot with, I guess, we're on Hillary 6.0 after 60 years. She's been trying this stuff literally since 1995. So Hillary 6.0 was going to be more warm, more funny, and more spontaneous. She's got a 19-point plan on spontaneity. It's an amazing thing. So we know that this stuff is fake. They know we know this stuff is fake, but they're trying to do it because everything else they've tried has failed. Their numbers keep doing this, or desperation keeps doing that, and we've crossed that X and no return.
Well, you know, Bill, Bob Dylan once sang, "It might be the devil or it might be the Lord, but you got to serve somebody." Are you rejoicing that these women have found an object for their reverence? And doesn't it make our religious freedom guarantees so much more precious when a woman breaks the divine glass ceiling?
That video clip made me very seriously consider this whole idea about giving women the right to vote. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that this is the vote's still out on this one. You know, if these women really want to serve Hillary Clinton, they might get their chance. I understand that on Sundays they allow visitors to come into federal prison and bring. Maybe they could get in line and serve her in the in the cafeteria line or something. You know, we saw this, as Steve said. We saw it with Barack Obama teaching our children to sing songs to the dear leader. There's two other places where they do this, three really. They did it in Nazi Germany, they did it in the Soviet Union, and they do it in North Korea. You know, I don't know of anybody of the people I know who most revere Ronald Reagan, the idea of them singing a song of praise, especially a song of religious praise to Ronald Reagan, is anathema to them, and it would cause Ronald Reagan to break through that lovely little concrete slab of his out in Calabasas there, and zombie Reagan would come out of the dead and force you to your knees in front of him and say, "You do not pray to me, you pray to one greater than me." I don't know what it is about the left, other than to say that, you know, Scotty, when your entire philosophy consists of magical thinking, of wishing that something would be true and therefore it is true, you have no way to make that square with the real world unless a magical person comes along. I guess that's the only explanation for it. I suppose that's why they imbue their leaders with this divinity, why they do it with Hillary Clinton, why they do it with Barack Obama, why they do it with Joseph Stalin, why they do it with Mao, why they do it with Fidel, why they do it with Hitler. Don't like being compared to those people? Well, then maybe you should stop worshiping living people as gods the way those people did and get a little more realistic view about what the world is actually about.
You know, when I first heard this hymn of praise to Hillary Clinton, as the best hymns do, it drew me back to the scriptures, where I read this story from Acts chapter 12 about a king named Herod. And I quote, "On the appointed day, Herod, wearing his royal robes, sat on his throne and delivered a public address to the people. They shouted, 'This is the voice of a God, not of a man.' Immediately, because Herod did not give praise to God, an angel of the Lord struck him down, and he was eaten by worms and, well, I can't really bear to go on." This choir perfectly captures the spirit of the age, or at least the mindset of the progressive elitists. Removing God from the throne is never enough. Something or someone must sit upon it, scepter in hand, beneath a bejeweled diadem, to receive our worship and to dole out blessings. Of course, separation of church and state, which progressives love to proclaim, gets a little tricky when the state is your church and the head of state, your God. For Bill Whittle, Stephen Green, and the entire Trifecta team at pjtv.com, I'm Scott Ott.